Hello friends, this is Aubrey from Crybaby Sonoma Homestead, and I'm here today to talk about bug out bags and kind of thinking outside the box in a little bit on this one. Do you have a bug out bag yet? Just kind of back up for a second in case you don't know what that is. It's just the idea of having a ready to go bag that has all of the essentials that you would need in case of a serious situation. It might have, a compass, it might have glow sticks, flashlights, water bottles, water purification methods, and all sorts of different things like that. If you have that, comment below what's the most important item you have in your bug out bag. So today's video is actually thinking outside the box a little bit. So I do value having a bug out bag for the main purpose of if there was something serious that happened, being prepared for ourselves. Now, that being said, your bug out bag might come in handy for other people, not just for you. I should have actually made this video like last year or maybe the year before. I can't remember which one it was. But I'm actually making this video because I had bug out bags, like way too many. Every time I'd watch a bug out bag video, I'd basically go get all the stuff that they mentioned in it over the course of months, not all at once because it's so expensive. But I would put together a new bug out bag and I was like, I want to make sure that there's one for me, my husband, for each of our kids. What if we have a friend with us? What if somebody we love comes along or doesn't have what they need? Like just kind of extras, one for each vehicle. Kind of got carried away. And it's kind of a good thing that happened and that really blessed somebody else in a very powerful way. So if you don't watch my channel, I am a mother, I have kids, and I don't remember what day of the week it was. It's probably a Friday because my family was really busy and we went to stop at Little Caesars to get some pizza to bring home for the kids. And my daughter was with me. And we noticed this gentleman outside of the Little Caesars. He looked like he had been through a lot. Like it was clear he was homeless. And he looked like he'd been beat up. He looked hungry and thirsty and shivering, cold, just in despair. He looked like he was truly in despair. And so when we went in to order the food to bring home to the kids and stuff, we grabbed an extra soda thing and we got him some cheesy bread and the dip, the marinara and all that kind of stuff. And as we were leaving, I went up to him and I said, something like, I hope that this doesn't offend you, but are you hungry? Would you like some of this cheesy bread and the soda? And he was like, yes. He was like, yes, please, thank you. I'm so hungry. And then he went on to tell us a story about, and I absolutely 100% believe this man. He went on to tell us that he had been robbed and he had his little tent out in the woods, which I'm not saying this is what I want people to do, but he was living in the woods and he had a tent and he was living in and all of his stuff was in there. And he just went to get something to eat. And when he came back, like to go get something, and when he came back, all of his stuff was gone, even his tent. Another homeless person had actually taken everything this man owned. And the man was like shaking and crying. Like it was truly devastating. And I had already gotten him something to eat. I mean, it wasn't like nutritious, whatever, but it's calories and it was hot. And I'm thinking about this man and it's like, it's already too late for him to go to homeless shelter. It's night. It's late at night. And all homeless shelters are already closed. You can't go anywhere. There's nowhere for him to go. He has nothing. And so I looked at my daughter and I said, well, I think I might have a little 2-person tent at home. Would that be something you would be interested in having? And he smiled so big and he was like, please, thank you. That would be amazing. And I said, well, are you going to still be here? And he's like, yeah, I'll wait for the tent. Thank you so much. And so my daughter and I ran home and I knew right away I had a 2-person tent in a bug out bag. And so I dumped the bug out bag out and I was like, you know what? He lost everything. So I didn't grab one of the more expensive ones because, I have some that were like actually like waterproof and everything. And it would have been nicer if I had given him one of those. honestly, it would have been. But I was like, I'll give him a nice one. I don't remember which one. It was a black one, Jan Sport, or, could have been like one of the, I don't remember all the details. If I was doing this for the purpose of making a video, I would have taken a video of it, but I didn't do it for the purpose of making a video. So I got him the backpack, and I put the little 2-person tent inside of it. And then I was like, wait, but he doesn't have a blanket. And so I had in one of my bug out bags, those army blankets. They're really expensive, but I went online years ago and I was like, I wanted to have the army liner type green, blankets in all of them because they're super comfy and they're really, really warm. So I grabbed one of those, tossed that in there. I made sure that I had some of those, emergency blankets, the ones that are like silver. I had some of those in there. I put several things in there, a little bag of like snacks, foods, and things like that, and a Bible that I had got from a yard sale. So put together this little bag, and I think I don't remember for sure, but if I didn't, I meant to. I think I put some cash in there too, just a little bit. And when I brought it back to the gentleman, he was still out there waiting, and I just saw his face, and it was priceless. That something that I had in excess, it wasn't just a bug out bag. It was an extra bug out bag. I didn't need it, and nobody I knew needed it. And it was going to be a cold night, and it was already dark, and he was cold and shivering. And because I had a bug out bag for the intent of like shtf, teotwawki, like whatever happens, not zombie apocalypse, but if something bad were to happen and we had to have something in our car, in our trunk, whatever, it would have been a better story if I had it in my trunk already ready to go. I did have to go home and get it. And I didn't give him things like compasses and things like that because he's in an urban environment. He already knows where he is. If I had something like the bus schedule, that kind of stuff, but I think he's been homeless for a while, so he probably already knows that. I put together really fast what would have been most helpful to him. And I think, it's a pretty big gift to give to somebody. I'm not saying that you have to do this, but if you have a bug out bag, maybe you have a couple extra cheap, not totally cheap because you don't want to fall apart on somebody, but like a little cheaper backpacks, not like $50 or something. But if you have a backpack with a blanket and a water bottle and some snacks, and if you had a 2-person tent in there, that would be amazing. Some of those, at least those like survival blanket type things, but those aren't comfy. So like a little fuzzy blanket, even if you're not going to do like the army blanket, it with a gloves, mittens, a fleece hat, a fleece scarf, Dollar Tree. I'm thinking like go to the Dollar Tree, if you already have like a $5 backpack, $5-10 backpack, you throw in some things like, the gloves, hat, scarf, a cheap fleece blanket, and if possible, maybe some socks or, whatever somebody needs. You don't have to be as crazy as my husband went when he saw somebody who was in need. I'll tell you that story. Sometimes I think I'm kind of married to an angel in some ways. My husband had, whatever, but by the way, whatever credit you get here on earth, you don't get in heaven. So if I tell you a story, it's not like to toot our horns or to brag or something, but I just want to say something really nice about my husband. So he actually asks permission to buy shoes. He had permission to buy himself a pair of new shoes. They were really nice. And we were driving downtown near where we live. And there was a homeless man. It was raining. He saw this homeless man walking through town who didn't have shoes on, and he was walking in his socks and limping. And my husband pulled off to the side of the road, and I just imagined he was going to run over to him and give him some cash or something. So he runs over to the gentleman. He starts talking to the guy, and then he takes off his shoes and gives it to the man. And honestly, I was so moved by that. I was like, that's kind of incredible. He took off his shoes, his brand new shoes that he had to get permission from me to buy. And he ran back to the car in his socks in the rain. And the man Actually, I saw him putting the shoes on. Sorry, that story is so moving to me. He put the shoes on. The homeless man put the shoes on and walked away, and he looked back at us, and there are no words. Like, some people take advantage of the systems that are in place and get what they want, but some people really aren't getting what they need. And I think you can see that in somebody. There are some really heartbreaking cases out there, and to be able to help somebody, if you can, it's a blessing in itself. Another time I had just gone to like Winco or Walmart. I had done a big prepping shopping trip, and I had the back of the car full of rice and beans and like shelf stable things like that I could think would last for a while, at least for a couple months, up to a couple years. And I went to the gas station, and there was this young man laying on the concrete, and he was very skinny, and he was talking on a flip phone, cell phone. So he didn't have a lot of money. Like, sometimes you see people who are homeless and they have like an iPhone or something, but he actually had like a little flip phone, and he was talking to somebody. I don't have any clue what his deal was, but I just had this pressing on my heart that he was hungry. And I looked in the back of the car, and I was like, I have like shelf stable Pop-Tarts, cookies, that kind of stuff, muffins and whatever. I don't even remember what it was, but it was something like shelf stable, but they were sweets. And after I was done pumping my gas, I walked over to him and I said, this is probably kind of weird, but are you hungry? I have some little packages of cookies and stuff. Would you want some? And he's like, really? You're going to give me food? And I was like, well, I don't want to offend you, but I just felt like you were hungry. And he was like, I am, and I'm famished. And I was like, okay. Well, I went and grabbed some, and I gave it to the guy, and he ripped it open and started eating it right there. He was hungry. So I felt like he wasn't asking me for something, but I just had this feeling that that's what it was for. So like those two stories that I shared of myself, where I was prepping for my family and for my needs, and then it wasn't even for me. Like, that pressing on me to get those things and to save them, I thought it was for me and for mine, but it wasn't. It was for strangers. And so if you are prepping, do so with a generosity, with a generous spirit, that it might not actually be for you. It might be for somebody you love. It might be for somebody you never even met. So I just was thinking, I'm like watching the fall leaves fall, and I'm thinking how cold it's starting to get at night, and how we used to keep things in the car in case we pass by somebody. Like, we don't even carry cash anymore. So unless we're cash stuffing, but it's good to have some low denomination bills, like 5s and 1s, change. I've seen people before have Ziploc baggies with water bottles and granola bars. Sometimes I feel like it can be kind of condescending. So you have to do it with a real, make sure that you're doing it for them, not for you. And you do it when you're compelled to. You have a real sense of when it's the right thing to do. Because we don't want to encourage homelessness, but at the same time, we need to be compassionate, because there really is a serious issue. And once you're homeless, it's really hard to become homed again. It's really hard for people to even access benefits once they are unhomed. It's crazy how much easier it is for someone to get benefits from the state if they actually have a roof over their home already, a roof over their head already. They have to have proof of address and then somewhere to send something to, and all this, all the paperwork that comes with being a person. But people who are not documented, people who have lost everything, who have screwed up royally and have been written off by everyone who loved them, they're still redeemable. They are like prodigal sons. And as Christians, or even if you're not a Christian, as human beings with empathy and compassion, we need to watch out for our fellow people and to prep for ourselves, for ours, and also for those who might be strangers to us. They might be angels. You never know. All right, everybody. God bless you. Hopefully you receive this with a good spirit and with empathy in your heart and not judgment. All right, everybody. God bless you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.